This is the setting for a strange and surprising spectacle. There's nothing like it anywhere. The place itself is also unique, for it's the only lake in Scotland, the Lake of Menteith. There was a time, as you'd expect in these parts, when it was called the Loch of Menteith, but for some forgotten reason, the name was changed. The Lake of Menteith lies on that borderline which separates the Scottish Highlands from the lowlands, a haven for migrant birds, waterfowl and fishermen. It's roughly oval in shape and about a mile by a mile and a half. The size is important, and so is the fact that, for the most part, the water is shallow. For once in a while, sometimes a very long while, the lake freezes over. And then from all sides, strange figures appear, pulling small trains of polished granite. Figures remarkable for their clothes, their headgear, and their obvious determination to make sweeping changes in the world as we knew it. It seems to be a lemming-like impulse which guides them, and they are, in fact, responding to an ancient summons. The name of the game, and it is a game, is curling.
Sister and brother curlers, may I welcome you all to the Lake of Menteith for the 38th grand match of the Royal Caledonian Curling Club between the north of Scotland and the south of Scotland. We sent a telegram to our royal patron, Her Majesty the Queen, and we have
now Scotland has given two great games to the world. Golf is one, and this, the rowing game, is the other, and the Grand Match is its most spectacular event. The summons to play is issued by the Royal Caledonian Curling Club, which lays down that this match takes precedence over all others. The word goes out to 2,400 curlers. The names of their clubs are a poem in themselves. Elgin and Glenfarg, Ballandalloch and Glams, Kinlochranach, Strathspey, Carsebreck, Schiehallion, Loch Aber, Loch Ness. Altogether, there are 600 of them, half from the north and half from the south. Never less and never more, because it takes 2 days to mark out the ice, and the risk of a thaw means that a third day could cost us the match. The signal for battle comes appropriately from the firing of an ancient cannon, and the Battle of the Champions, in Gaelic the Cathnan Curry, is joined. The rowing game has been described as bowls on ice, and that's a fair enough description. The roaring, of course, refers to the sound made by the stone in motion. The rules have been kept short and simple. 4 players in a team, 2 stones to a player. And the object is to place the stone as near as possible to the tee or mark at the other end of the rink. The first law of delivery is that the stone must be thrown. It's not good enough to slide or push it, but it's a fine distinction. Some people might say it's only the Scots who could make an art of throwing stones.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I can't get in. Shot!
The captain, or skip, stands at the tee and directs his team from there. He's also the last to play.
Yes, Rob, come on! Ah!
No, don't touch it.
Up now, that's... Okay.
Yes! Oh, yes!
I've said that curling is like bowls, the same number of players in a team, which incidentally is also called a rink, the same rotation of play, the same scoring system. But one notable difference involves what is called sweeping. This is regarded as both art and science. It's the broom that wins the battle, we're told, and it does three things. It brushes away anything that could possibly hinder the free passage of the stone. It reduces, would you believe, the atmospheric pressure in front of the stone and creates a slight vacuum which draws it on. And not least important, it causes a temporary melting of the ice, thereby lubricating the surface and lessening the friction.
Oh, he'll have to stop his courage. Leven! Come on, boys!
Shoot! Get heels, man. Back away, eh? Good sweeping. Shoot.
By the way, the modern stone is made of granite and weighs about 40 pounds, and the length of each rink is about twice that of a cricket pitch.
Well done. No, just me. Well sweat.
A diary is kept by the convener of the grand match, and in it he records the thickness of the ice, on this day officially measured at 8.5 inches. He also noted that someone had tried to estimate the total weight supported by the ice. It wasn't difficult to calculate the weight of the stones, nor even a rough figure for the players, say 200 tons of well-clad curlers. But where he failed was in trying to guess the weight of provisions brought onto the ice in hampers, boxes, crates and bottles. The first grand match was held in 1847, and the second, shown in this painting, was a year later. There were 680 curlers on the ice for this, the second grand match, and 6,000 people came to watch them. And these are not imagined faces. These are all individual portraits. You might say that everyone who was anyone had to be included. And what the painter couldn't convey was celebrated by the poets and songwriters. The music dear to the curler's ear and enjoyed by him alone, the merry clink of the curling rink and the boom of the roaring stone. A later painting of the grand match again portrays identifiable people of the time. That they were so painstakingly recorded gives some idea of how celebrated the event of a grand match has always been. Fashions change, but the baskets and bottles are still there, reminders that the roaring game is first and foremost a sociable game, the most sociable of games. There's just one problem. There's a need for at least 7 inches of good ice, and that's a requirement that may not be met out of doors for 10, 15, even 20 years. So the grand match is remembered, whether it's 1899 or 1979. Good health, or as we say in Gaelic, slán Leven, chulalas chís na chéic. Good health, every day you'll see and not see. Moments like these bring to mind the 3 reasons suggested to explain the uniqueness of the grand match in the world of sport. Firstly, it very rarely takes place. Secondly, when it does, the result doesn't matter. And thirdly, certain well-known stimulants are not discouraged.
Come on, you're next. Come on, you're next. Come on, come on. Get up here, Let John have this. Let's have one.
If horse racing is the sport of kings, curling is the great equalizer. Those who care about it most say that fellowship is its greatest virtue, and the first aim of the Royal Club is to unite curlers throughout the world into one brotherhood of the rink. This then was the 38th grand match, the national Bonspiel. Like the others, it lasted for 3 hours, give or take a little for rinks that were quicker or slower to finish. We've said that the result doesn't matter, but that sounds like the losers talking. For the record, the North beat the South by a comfortable 799 points. As for the day itself, the sun had shone from first to last. It had shone on everyone and everything. What a pity, someone said, that all sports could not be as pleasant, convivial, informal, and as flexible in the rules. Maybe then we would all be as happy as the players of the roaring game. The past is a foreign country, and certainly when the ice has melted and the birds have reclaimed their territory, the grand match seems like a distant dream. Even for those of us who were there and saw the sights and heard the sounds, it's hard to believe that it ever happened. But it did. We know that it did.